Good morning, beautiful unicorns. I am recording a quick message because I've just watched a video online and I've watched many like it over the last few months, but I've not seen so many as I've seen popping up recently. It's the police enforcing the no mask and the lockdown rules when people meet up for family events or when they're wearing masks in public areas. It's like recently they really seem to be cracking down on it. And neighbours, it's always the neighbour, always the bloody neighbour reporting to somebody. You'd think they'd have something better to do with the time, but obviously not. In this particular video, it was a family gathering. It was for a baby shower. A kid's fucking baby shower, yeah? Just family trying to get together, do their own thing. And the police, because of some stupid neighbour, had to come and intervene. Not only did they have to come and intervene, but they had to enforce the law. They had to break up the baby shower, and they had to fine some people, at least some people present, they had to fine them 200 quid. Now, you know, hats off to the police in that situation. This was in London, and hats off to the police because they didn't charge everyone present. They were quite polite, considering all things considered, and I think the people at the baby shower understood as well. It was, they're just doing their job. These guys are just doing their job. It's enforcement of the law is not so much a problem as corrupt laws themselves. Yeah. If you read Ordinary Men, you will learn a lot about this. This is about the Ordinary Men was about the order police. At least I believe that's what they were called, the order police that worked for Nazi Germany. Now these were regular guys. They weren't soldiers, but they were used during the Holocaust and up to the Holocaust to carry out the unreasonable expectations of their political system, of the Nazi movement. Yeah, so the police were the ones actually, a lot of the time, not just the soldiers, rounding up and even killing the Jews in this situation. Those they deemed in need of, shall we say, de-radicalization? Yeah, so it's not the police. You need the police. They are there to make sure your neighbour doesn't murder you in the night, because you know some neighbours would. I believe personally they're not the majority, but there are some neighbours that would. Yeah, so it's like they're there. You need them. They're there for your own good, provided they're not asked to do unreasonable things in the name of the current political movement. Now, this whole arresting people over masks, I guarantee a lot of them people, I guarantee a lot of those cops don't want to be there harassing you, breaking up the baby shower. They're perhaps very embarrassed about it themselves. They know they're just doing their job. They would lose their livelihood. They didn't, when they signed up to the police force, it wasn't, oh yeah, your main job as a police officer is going to be enforcing that people stay in their homes and enforcing the idea that they're going to wear masks. You're going to be finding people in the street and arresting them for not wearing a face diaper. Yeah? That's not what they signed up for. When they signed up for the job, they likely signed up to help out, to try and maintain a little law and order. Because you need it. We do need it. They're not the bad guys. The bad guys in that situation are the ones requiring and enforcing those laws, requiring that the police officers uphold those laws that they did not sign up to uphold originally. That's worth noting. They came in after they'd already signed up to the police force. That's not what they signed up for. but they'll lose their job regardless if they don't do it. Yeah? The people requiring that police officers do it or lose their job are the ones at fault. And you know what? The dirty little neighbours as well, yeah? Dirty little cretins. I mean, what's going through their head? What must be going through their head? You know, it's like, oh my God, have you seen the Robinsons across the road? What are they having family around? Is that family turning up to spend some time together over the wee Wayne that's just been born? Is that family visiting? Oh, I think it is, Mavis. We should report them to the police. Because them holding a gathering is affecting their neighbours within their own homes in such a way that they are going to immediately die or increase the likelihood of catching coronavirus. It's ridiculous. It's goddamn stupid. And it's becoming more and more preposterous the more people point out how ridiculous it is and the more they try to defend their ridiculous claims. So, long story short, after my rant, it's not the police for enforcing the law, it's the people who put the laws in place. So, what might be a solution? I'm going to suggest a different type of police force, okay? Now, this is going to sound bizarre initially, but I'm going to share the idea with you regardless. Because as bizarre as it might sound, somebody in my position suggesting fixes for large political issues, they're not being fixed by the people in those positions. So, you know, when when those in positions of power do not represent the people that they are appointed to represent, it is incumbent on the general public to become and appoint themselves genuine civil servants, in my opinion. Right, so I'm gonna suggest an alternate form of police force, which actually, if thought about, serves as a complementary form of policing to the one that currently exists, instead of a replacement or an outright condemnation of our hard-working law enforcers or peacekeepers. Okay, how about police officers that are responsible to uphold the laws and practices that they signed up for at the time of signing up to the police force, right? So any new laws that come out, the police force, because they're not the ones they signed up for, yeah? They're not the ones they signed up for. That's not what they wanted to do, a lot of them, okay? Any laws that come out afterwards are up for review. So the police officers that are currently in those positions, that they review the laws that currently exist, or the new laws that want to be implemented, and they tick off a box. They say, yeah, I'm comfortable doing that, or I'm comfortable doing this next thing, I'm comfortable doing that next thing. Now, why would this be beneficial? Okay, because it means people who signed up for a service aren't being requested to do things that they did not originally sign up for, which makes it incredibly difficult for corruption or corrupt government to put systems in place or put laws in place and just demand that they be enforced immediately. It adds an additional layer of democracy to the whole system, you know? You've got what's supposed to be democratically appointed people speaking on behalf of the people and putting laws in place to benefit the people, and then you've got the police officers themselves also deciding on behalf of the people, being more closely connected with the general public. You've got those police officers as well reviewing and deciding for or against democratically laws and practices that should or should not be enforced. So it's like two layers of corruption prevention, two layers of democratic corruption prevention. Okay? carried out by the police. So you're leaving the final say on laws passed down to the individual police officers also. Because those that want to go and arrest people at baby showers and fine them 200 quid over gathering and probably not wearing masks as well, exercising their individual rights as human beings, those that want to go and arrest those people, you will still have a couple of officers that will do that. But it won't be everybody. It won't be everybody. Okay? And those that aren't comfortable doing that, the law or practice that they didn't sign up for in the beginning, don't have to. Okay? So they get to use their personal judgment on new laws. Okay? New laws put in place. Now you say, oh, okay, but then when they if the government puts unreasonable laws in place, any new officers won't want to sign up because they don't want to support a system that requires they support corruption. Yeah, they don't want to support a corrupt system. Isn't that a good thing? You know, if enough of the general public say, yeah, our police force is shit, we want to protect some of those principles and laws, but we don't agree with all of them. You know, we want to look after people's safety, but we don't want to be knocking on people's doors and arresting them over bloody masks. Yeah, it's like over a virus whose death rate is questionable at best. Yeah, they don't have to. Yeah, isn't it a good thing? It's like an extra layer of corruption prevention. It's an extra layer of public discernment that corruption has to break through. And that can only be a good thing, in my opinion. On that note, firemen. Okay, so other service providers do have this practice in place. If a fireman doesn't think his job is to protect people from fires, yeah. It used to be the day that if your commanding officer says you run into that building, you run into that flaming building, you would have to do it. Okay. In this day and age, if you deem it too unsafe as a fireman, you don't have to run into the building nowadays. Okay. You don't take any risks on your own life that you don't want to, that you think are unreasonable expectations. Okay. But at the same time, you can do that. The beautiful thing with that is, it means when a fireman runs into a building to save a kid or something, he's voluntarily doing that, not because he's being told or shouted at to do it. Yeah. Nobody's risking their life unnecessarily. Okay. If the situation is a hopeless one, and both the kid and the fireman are going to die in that situation if he tries to rescue him, then the fireman does not have to, okay? Right, so, or he can find another way to get to the kid, other than running up a collapsing staircase. So similarly, police officers are responsible for the lives and rights of other people as well as their own safety, okay? And practice they are comfortable and are not comfortable carrying out, okay? So why do firemen have that right? Why do firemen get to make that decision, but police officers don't get to use their personal discernment? They just have to do exactly as they're told in every single situation, including practices they did not sign up to carry out. Yeah? Is it perhaps because a fireman with the ability to use his personal discernment is not as damaging to political control as a law enforcer? But how much more so should a police officer, a member of the general public, first and foremost, and not of Parliament, but instead the enforcement of their laws, how much more so then should a police officer be entitled to use their personal discernment than a fireman, when so much is at stake for so many people over a broader number of issues? Negotiations of contract take place in almost all other occupations. When you put a CV forward for someone, it's a negotiation. It's here's what I can do, here's what I can't do. You might even put on the CV what you're comfortable doing and what you're not comfortable doing. You know, you're expected to put your weaknesses on the CV, okay? So in all other forms of employment, this right to negotiate on what you can and cannot do is present. But again, not in the police force, where the consequences, the societal consequences for the general public are so much more severe, potentially. And a decision of employment is made based on that, based on all the facts and based on the truth that you have shared. It's not like you'd have less police officers, okay? You'd have more select police officers if they weren't forced to enforce practice they agree with, along with practices that they might not have signed up for. Oh, and yeah, you might say, but we need people who will take on really dangerous positions and just do as they're told in dangerous situations. And what's the army for? What's the National Guard for? Are police officers the National Guard? Are they soldiers? Now, granted, they might carry out practices similar. But they're not supposed to be the same thing. They're different positions, okay? And you still get police. You still get police doing those dangerous positions, but you just get the ones that are confident enough in their own abilities to take those positions up, yeah? And I'm not saying that when you sign up, all things should be up for debate. What I'm saying is you shouldn't be asked to sign anything or to carry out practice that you didn't originally sign up for, okay? Because you might not agree with it. And it makes enforcing political agenda too easy. Now, as well as all the benefits listed above, one of the main benefits to this would be that police forces and their practices would need to set their systems up in such a way that they appear attractive to the general public. And since they're there to defend the majority of the general public, isn't that what they should be doing anyway? So it would need to negotiate its expectations of both officer and citizen to serve the needs of the people as well as the government that are supposed to serve the people. It would also mean that those officers that people are hating on online for breaking up baby showers and charging residents and homeowners and people just trying to meet up with their family 200 quid a pop, it would also mean they're there doing that because they actually want to be doing that and agreed to do that. Don't defund the police, improve them.